Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I want to remind you, the Ledger stacks, they're still doing the pre-orders. They're estimated they're going to do the shipping by May 2023. I already got mine. Also wanted to remind you that Uphold, most of these guys are one of my sponsors, two of my sponsors. Uphold's the only place right now that you can get XRP, okay? Link to both of these in the top of the description. And I want to show you, this is where I get my XRP when I buy it. I haven't bought it in a little while, but I'm not afraid to. And then we've got this. Coinbase is now under an intense amount of pressure to relist XRP. They won the dismissal of a lawsuit against them yesterday. Wins dismissal of lawsuit over unregistered securities. So they've got a win in their corner. And then this is one of the guys at Coinbase tweeting this out. He says, "We appreciate the federal court's careful consideration and affirmation of what our user agreement makes abundantly clear. Coinbase does not hold title to customer assets." Fred Rispoli, who I think is suing Coinbase over Songbird, he says, "Coinbase, you win some, you lose some. If you don't hold title to customer assets, then you are literally stealing customers' Flare and Songbird, which title flows through customers' XRP." He goes on, side note, before anyone gets too excited for the purposes of the motion at issue here, Coinbase agreed for the sake of argument that all 79 tokens alleged as securities by plaintiffs were in fact securities. Bizarro world we're in. Then Library tweeted this out. How cool is Library? Coinbase should relist XRP. Under the SEC versus Library standard, XRP sold by secondary holders is not a security. So there you have it. And then we had Mr. B come in. He says, "Coinbase shareholders deserve XRP to be traded again. Let's go Coinbase, make a stand." Now, just like they did in just about every crypto pullback that I have been a part of, which is all of them since 2013, the almost on cue, all of the darlings of Wall Street start to come out and bash crypto. Billionaire investor and staunch Bitcoin skeptic Charlie Munger has gone after crypto again, calling for U.S. to follow in the footsteps of China and ban crypto. Well, they would like China, wouldn't they? And then this, I clipped an article from him in 2018, February 14th, 2018. Charlie Munger urges, almost at the same time of year he comes out and does this. You have to wonder what they're up to. Charlie Munger, he urges regulators to ease off of Wells Fargo, which he and Warren Buffett were investors in, but blasts crypto. In other words, banks that were bailed out in the financial crisis, and by the way, let's not forget, well, I can remind you, these guys, through their company, okay, let's not forget, and it's not a coincidence that the same characters are involved. Here's Andrew Ross Sorkin reporting on, and they presented it like at the time in the financial crisis, like Warren Buffett had saved the day and he had bailed out Goldman Sachs. But the part they don't focus on, and you can see it in the Too Big to Fail movie, I think's the one. Hank Paulson, who was the Treasury Secretary of the United States, gets on the phone with Warren Buffett, negotiates a deal where Warren Buffett is going to buy, I think it was preferred stock in Goldman Sachs, but in return he gets government assurances. But they send Martha Stewart to jail for getting a broker stock tip. But this isn't considered insider trading. Just as they did, let me make sure. Just as they did in the pandemic, our government in the financial crisis literally said, oh, okay, we're just going to suspend all of these laws. We're going to just flush the Constitution down the toilet, and we're just going to kind of do what we want because, hey, this is an emergency. And nobody goes to jail. Listen to this.
That's the question this morning, as Mr. Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, the man whose words are watched by everybody on Wall Street, spends $5 billion.
If I could get on the phone with the Treasury, the Secretary of the Treasury, okay, and he could give me assurances on where I'm putting my money, you'd call me an oracle too.
Dollars to invest in Goldman Sachs. The question is he catching a falling knife, or have we hit the bottom? He's spent $5 billion, and it's known, frankly, as what's called expensive money. He's giving over $5 billion in return for a 10% dividend. In addition to that, he has the right to buy an additional $5 billion worth of stock at a massive discount. So it's probably going to be a good deal.
And in addition to that, he's getting the assurances of the U.S. federal government that you and I don't get. Now, CNBC is really trotting out all of the usual characters now, but I think this one right here is one of the good ones. This is 3 minutes and 13 seconds, but it's important that you watch it. This is Ray Dalio, and before I play it, I want to relay a story. I've relayed it once maybe on this channel. Now, I get emails all the time, and this may have been a made-up email, I don't know, but about 2 or 3 years ago, I received an email from someone that said, I'm with one of the largest investment firms in the world here in the United States, and I can tell you we are looking at XRP. And he said, I won't say which firm I'm with, but look at the attached pictures. And it was a picture of a bridge and water. And Ray Dalio is from Bridgewater. That's a true story right there.
Curious, crypto curious.
Okay.
Where has anything changed for you?
Yeah, just to everybody, let me state what I believe about crypto with Bitcoin, and what I've pretty much always been. I think it's been quite amazing that for 12 years it's accomplished this, but I think it has no relation to anything. Okay, in other words, it moves, it has no relation. It's a tiny thing that gets a disproportionate attention. The value of Bitcoin is less than a third of the value of Microsoft stock. You could go into industries, biotech and many other industries are more interesting than Bitcoin. It's not going to be an effective money. It's not an effective storeholder wealth. It's not an effective medium of exchange. But we are in a world in which money as we know it is in jeopardy, right? We are printing too much, and it's not just the United States, all the reserve currencies, what's going on in Euroland, what's going on in yen. And so in that world, the question is, what is money and how's that going to operate? So when we look at something like China's renminbi, and then you take the digital renminbi, I think you're going to see that become more and more a thing. So when things start to open up in an evolutionary way, people are going to start to say, where is my safe storeholder wealth? And as you have China denominate more of its trade in renminbi, then naturally those who are going to hold renminbi, if Saudi Arabia sells oil in renminbi and then buys things from China in renminbi, when they get it, they're going to hold more renminbi. It's going to be a higher percentage of their. And so I think the question over the next number of years.
Listen to what he says now. This is interesting.
Is really what is money, not just as a medium of exchange, but a storehold of wealth.
That sounds like a argument for Bitcoin of sorts.
So they try to steer him to Bitcoin as usual. They try to steer everybody to Bitcoin.
For some digital
Bitcoins? No, I think if you want a digital currency, you have to deal something different. I don't think that the stable coins are good because then you're getting a fiat currency again. I think that what would be best is an inflation-linked coin.
Right.
In other words, something where basically you would say, okay, this is going to give me buying power, because every individual wants. What do they want? They want to secure their buying power. If you want to save. Now, if you put it in Bitcoin, it goes like this. Who knows what happens? Right. If you put it into something, the closest thing to that is an inflation index bond and so on. But if you created a coin that says, okay, this is buying power that I know I could save in and put my money in over a period of time, and then I can transfer.
Did he just say create a coin that's a bond?
In anywhere, I think that would be a good coin. So I think you're going to see probably.
When I was at Morgan Stanley back in the day, the inflation protected bonds were called TIPS. Is he talking about a digital asset TIPS bond?
The development of coins that you haven't seen that probably will end up being attractive, viable coins.
All right. Very interesting. Now, so Bitcoin, once the Federal Reserve Chairman yesterday said the disinflation process has started, the price of not just Bitcoin, but other digital assets were going up. So cue the kid. I call Jack Mallers the kid because every time this kid, they start to parade this kid out, it reminds me of the cartoon monkeys that I've had to endure for the last few years. But when I listen to, I'm watching this kid in his hoodie and all, and if you go to his Twitter handle, it literally says "yo." Okay, now many years ago, I made the decision that XRP was the smartest digital asset. I made the decision that, hey, these guys are the adults in the room. I've never felt more confident in that decision than now when I watch this kind of mess.
Founder and CEO of Strike. Jack, it is always good to see you. How are you?
It's almost like CNBC is making fun of us.
Tyler, Kelly, Happy New Year.
Happy
Yo!
New Year. Great to be
Yo, Happy New Year.
On the show. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I want to understand something about this payment or remittance system. If I am
talking to the kid about the payment system,
say a nurse in Denver, and I want to send money back to my sibling in Manila, and I use your platform, Strike, do I even know that my money is being transformed into Bitcoin for purposes of the transaction, or do I not? Is it so seamless to me that I don't even know?
It's an unbelievable question, Tyler. You don't know. You don't know. In fact, we're very confident that Bitcoin in a payment setting, no one wants to spend Bitcoin. If you spend it in the United States, you're spending property. You got to tell the IRS.
Nice empty shelves in there. Now, folks, I will lay that against this, and you just tell me.
I think, the Swift model, we can talk about open APIs, we can talk about open networks, but it isn't. I mean, Swift is it's a Swift controlled API. And even, I'm complimentary of what GPI has represented in terms of accelerating what has been, a relatively slow process. GPI.
Folks, I've said it many times. There's a reason that we're the adults in the room. There's a reason that the XRP army community, whatever you want to call it, is larger and probably much more sophisticated than the others. It's because we're right. It's because CNBC is carrying a narrative and we ain't buying it. And it's very obvious that it's always been a narrative and it's not truth. We're on the side of what's right. We're on the side of what makes sense. We're on the side of truth. And all this Mickey Mouse, these kids that they're putting up there like these kids know. That kid, look, he may be in his lane, he may be smart as he can be. But guess what? When I see Ripple, I see adults, I see life experience and high levels of intelligence. Eleanor Terrett, the SEC is set to face more scrutiny from Congress this year. As the Financial Committee points out, the agency has not been reauthorized since 2015. Reauthorization is the process by which Congress reviews and makes changes to a government agency or program in order to make sure it's running efficiently and accomplishing its stated purpose. It also necessary to gauge the appropriate amount of government funding it should receive. The SEC received over $2 billion in funding for fiscal year 2023, though its authorization lapsed in fiscal year 2015. This means Gary Gensler will have to fight to prove to the Financial Committee that his agency is functioning properly and the amount of money received in funding this year and what he's asking for next year is justified. I'm told the move by the HFSC to reauthorize the SEC is an initial sign of the GOP's plan to significantly crack down and rein in the agency. You can read, wow, these people are, it looks like a new day is coming for Gary Gensler. I can't say that he doesn't deserve it. Now, I don't know why Jack the Rippler tweeted this out, but this is one of my favorite screen grabs since I got in this because it's always kind of amazed me. This was from the Wall Street Journal. I think it was back in 2017. Cryptocurrencies in 2025, Bitcoin this, Ethereum this, Ripple, this is back when they all called, they still do it a lot, but all these guys called XRP Ripple. But they predicted $8,033. Now that's the Wall Street Journal, and we're all called crazy for saying it could go to the thousands. I fully believe it could get into the thousands. I don't know how high, but I said here, we're going to find out by 2020. We'll be watching. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. The Wall Street Journal did call for an $8,033 XRP, what they called Ripple, in 2025.